Is bipedalism much older than we think? Considering how we start the history of most wars in the third act, black history at slavery, or the transatlantic slave trade, we can't rule it out. Much like the case of slavery or black history and in many of these wars, we typically start the history of bipedalism in maybe like the second act, which is the Pliocene, with a couple honorable mentions of proto-bipedalism. But what if it started millions of years before, like in the Miocene? What do I mean by that? Today we have four main genera of apes: chimps, gorillas, orangutans, and gibbons. Back then there were about 50 different genera of apes, and they ranged from all different shapes and sizes, from real small ones, 3 to 5 feet tall, to man size, 5 to 7 feet tall, to giant, like Gigantopithecus, and they were up to 9 feet tall, which is insane. Just like they varied in body size, they also varied in arm length, and some had arms about the same length as their legs, and some had arms that were longer than their legs, and we know a lot about that and what that said. Long arms are consistent with quadrupedalism. All the ones that walk on all fours have those longer legs that give them that higher vantage point so they can see. There are also short-armed apes that had arms that about the same size as their same length as their legs. And that's a category that humans fall into. Humans have the shortest arms of any ape ever. So it seems that there's more than enough evidence that at least some of these apes were bipedal, at least some of the time. But that's not really what we are told. Now, according to Dr. Aaron Filler, in his book, The Upright Ape, he discusses a 21 million year old fossil of a vertebrate of an ape called Morotopithecus bishopi. Aaron Fuller is a spine surgeon, so he knows a little bit about spines. He took one look at this vertebrae and instantly concluded that this was a biped, because it had so many similarities to human lumbar vertebrae. Now, in his book, he claims that paleontologists and anthropologists have had a problem with this fossil, in part because it can't really be understood within the paradigm of gradual adaptation and change. And that paradigm is called the Darwinian paradigm. It's the idea that everything starts off simple and becomes ever more complex gradually. And this doesn't just apply to evolution, it implies to the progress of history. It gives the implication that we're the best that we've ever been, and everyone before us was lesser in some way. Everything progressed in a linear fashion like that, for the most part. And this paradigm is quite pervasive in our society today. Now, the Darwinian paradigm isn't alone on the world stage. There's another one, and that's creationism. Okay, so creationism says for everything that God did it. God did it for everything. Darwinism says nature did everything. For everything. Walking upright or bipedally is a distinctive human trait. We associate anything that walks on 2 feet that's an ape as a human relative by default. For a long time, we even went so far as to call any biped a pre-human. But if the history of bipedalism is way older than we give it credit for, then would we be pre-humans or post-Miocene apes? Let me know in the comments. I'm Java, this is Gabademics.